We are live. Hello, Neil. How are you?
Hello, I'm grand. Yeah, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm going to play you a song, sir. Another turning point, a fox stuck in the road. Grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. Make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. Something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. There we go. Nice, easy, quick song.
Lovely. Excellent.
So, why did you choose that song, sir?
Can you believe that song's almost 25 years old? Makes me feel old anyway. Back around the mid to late 90s when I was a wee teenager, that was the sort of music that I was getting into.
Okay.
Green Day, Blink-182, The Offspring, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica. And it was a stepping stone to new metal in the late 90s, early noughties, and then into kind of far more extreme stuff and stuff that I'm interested into now. But that sort of 95 to 97 period is very reminiscent of memories. And actually the song itself was about Billy Joe's girlfriend that moved away or something, and he split up with her, and I was kind of courting a young lady at the same time. And I remember the music video, everybody was daydreaming in the video, even Billy Joe playing the acoustic guitar, he was daydreaming. And that was kind of my mindset for about a year, trying to go after this girl. I was just like totally foggy. So yeah, very interesting memories for me.
Fantastic. So I actually give my guests a link to my spreadsheet with all my songs on. So when you first saw that spreadsheet and the music that you're into now, you probably thought, hang on a minute, there's nothing here that I like. So I do apologize for that. And thank you for finding something. That's great news.
Absolutely fine.
So you're a dedicated and enthusiastic senior finance professional with a proven track record of creating new processes and teams. And you were made redundant, weren't you? And you've built your business up. You've built your business up using LinkedIn. So we're going to delve into that and find out a little bit more about that. We've got a few comments coming in already, which is lovely. Carly missed the song. You didn't miss anything. That's fine. Hi, John. Hi, Jim. Adessa and Natasha, thanks for joining us. Yes, if you've got any questions, guys, just put a Q next to your writing, and then we'll ask some questions. So, first question then: how long have you been on LinkedIn?
I've just scribbled it down. 13th of June 2011.
Okay, so yeah, quite a while then. That's over 10 years. Wow. Okay, and do you use other social media?
Yeah, I'm quite a staunch advocate of both Facebook and Instagram as well. So they're the kind of the three that I use the most.
Okay, and what do you like about LinkedIn?
I think for me, it's just so informative. Certainly over the last 18 months of having my business and connecting with more people, whether it be an article that gets posted or somebody's opinion or, just something kind of current affairs-y, it's just really interesting. And the problem with the likes of Facebook and Instagram, you have to weed through a lot of stuff to get to really interesting content. But in terms of my LinkedIn feed, it's I could just flick on my phone and I could be there for hours just reading lots of different things. So for me, it's just totally really informative.
No, good. I was chatting to someone earlier, and they were saying that they don't listen to the news much anymore, and they get all their news from LinkedIn. And like you say, it is a very informative platform. How often do you post your own content, Neil?
Probably on average, maybe once a day, once every other day. That's what comes come.
So very consistent.
Yeah, I think across all the different social media platforms, I've always been quite active on a personal level, whether it's to do with sport or music, which is my main passion, in DJing. But I think from a business point of view, I've just carried over what I've done in terms of a personal context, and I found it fairly easy to do. So yeah, quite consistently.
Yeah. So how much time then do you reckon you spend on LinkedIn every day?
Probably between half an hour and an hour. Okay. Maybe first thing in the morning, maybe a bit in the evening, a bit during lunch.
Yeah, perfect. So you're not on it all day, every day. You get on with your other stuff, but you dip in. And do you have set times where you gonna go and dip in?
Not really. I guess breakfast is quite a good one. Once the kids are at school and BBC Breakfast is on the background, I have a coffee. That's when I might scroll there more consistently in the mornings. But the rest of the day, yeah, it could be relatively ad hoc.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds a good habit to be into, because you like you say, you can end up right down a rabbit hole, can't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I could spend hours looking at LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's very addictive. Okay, so what is the highest number of views you've ever had on one of your content posts on LinkedIn?
Again, something I scribbled down. 20,555.
Wow, knocking it out of the park, man. What was all that about?
It was actually before. Was it just after I started my business, and I posted something. I'm just trying to remember what it was now. I looked at this about a week ago. It was something to do with my story. It was quite an emotional post. It was quite a personal post, and I know there's factions of LinkedIn that says it can't be personally related and all the rest of it. But I think it was just after I got made redundant again, and it was about kind of starting my business and my vision. And about what I wanted to do and set out to basically help people understand financials better. And, for whatever reason, that resonated with a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Look, people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. Okay. We don't buy from corporates. We buy from people. You might buy a BMW because the guy down the BMW showroom is a nice guy, but you're buying it because the guy's nice. Yeah. And when we're doing what we're doing online and showing people what our business is, those sorts of posts are the ones that resonate the most with people. You turning around and giving tax tips. No disregard to anybody that gives tax tips. I can't even say it. Tips on tax. Then it's informative, but anybody can do that. But nobody can tell Neil Criddle's story. And that's the thing, and that's what people buy into. You're just a normal guy, just like me. I'm struggling. When I need an accountant, I'm going to get hold of Neil because he's walked in my shoes, and that's the thing. So yeah, it's not Facebook, and who cares? Keep putting out those personal posts, because that's what people want to hear.
Sure.
Do you have a good time for posting content? Is there a better time for Neil to post content?
I don't look at the analytics too much in terms of like the engagement and reach. I basically just, if I've got something in my head, I'll post it. So if it's something that I think I might forget in the future, then I'll just go ahead and post it. So yeah, rather than viewing, which I do have a set kind of time for in terms of scrolling through content. Sorry, my cat's in my office trying to get out. Yeah, the posting wise, I feel that if you get into a rhythm, it can get too scripted in terms of both content and when you're posting. And sometimes you kind of think, well, that person's posted at 9 o'clock in the morning for the last 4 days in a row, and it feels a little bit artificial for me. So I tend to be just organic in terms of what I do and when I do it.
I like that. So when I do my training courses, I ask people what is the best time to post, and everybody puts their hand up and comes up with different times. And my answer is now.
Yeah.
When you're actually thinking of that post, because what happens is we spend so much time worrying about when we're going to post it, we never actually post it. So absolutely, nail on the head. Nice one, Neil. Thank you. I know the answer to this, but everybody else wants to know, do you get business as a result of your activity on LinkedIn?
Yes.
That's it. That's what you're going to tell
us. Yeah, I mean, I could waffle for ages, but very briefly, Facebook was the main catalyst when I first started, probably for the first, 6 to 9 months of the business journey. And then, yeah, for the last year, maybe, the traction has come more from LinkedIn. I'm getting kind of higher value clients, more interesting businesses, more startups, more young entrepreneurs. So, building my brand and building my connection list and, posting consistently, people do get in contact and they say, oh, look, I've seen your name bandied about for the last few months. What can you do? Can you help me? Sort of, conversations. So I've had a lot of those kind of this year and more recently. But yes, is the answer.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And so Odessa's just said it's important not to take the creative out of creating. And that's exactly what you just said, is you find something inspirational and then you'll go and post it straight away. You're not, trying to conjure up magic. It just happens. Which
Yeah,
is
I mean, at the moment, I did one, I think it was back in March, but I'm currently doing a 30-day video challenge where I'm just doing a short 60-second video live every single day for the month of September. And it could be business related, it could be me walking the dog, but it's kind of in the moment. Yesterday I think I did one that showed my clean, tidy desk after coming back from holiday, and it's little snippets of things that are kind of in my mind. I think, oh, would that be quite cool to share? I'm just going to do it anyway and see what happens. So yeah, kind of just something a little bit different. And certainly, when I think locally in terms of other sort of accountancy providers that are around here in the southwest of the UK, no one really kind of does social media, let alone video content. So I'm just trying to sort of refresh my ideas and just do different things.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Doesn't matter. No one else is doing it. There's 760 million people on LinkedIn and only about 3 million creating content. So whatever you do. John's just come up with a question, and it's pertinent because we were actually just talking about it. So I'll chuck that at you now. Do you notice a difference in the type of business or the quality of clients between Facebook and LinkedIn? Which is a great question. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I do. I do. I think as I kind of hinted at before, the sorts of people I'm working with now are potentially sort of mid-20s to mid-30s, young entrepreneurs, more so startups, and they've kind of followed my journey over the last year, 18 months. And they figured out that, I can do a job in terms of compliance, I can do books and records, I can do tax returns, but actually I've grown the business quite quickly along the way. So I think that's quite attractive to people that are looking to grow their business, because they need the accountancy support, but also they've got another head that's kind of gone through that similar sort of journey. So, Facebook is still a really good platform for me. I still get a lot of business through there. Maybe the smaller end in terms of fees and in terms of business size, but nevertheless, I think in terms of who is coming to me now and who I'm targeting, that my ideal client is very much on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay. So are you saying then you're going to keep using the same the same channels because they're working for you and you're getting a nice mix of clients, but the higher paying clients are going to be on the LinkedIn platform?
Yeah. I think it's easier to deliver my value proposition on LinkedIn than it is on Facebook, and I just think that's because on LinkedIn, people that get in contact with me have followed me for a while, whereas quite often on Facebook it might be just a one-off recommendation, or it might just be a post in my Facebook group that somebody's seen and they've not necessarily followed my journey, from day one. So I find it easier to speak and to kind of attract higher fees with clients that have come through LinkedIn, and typically speaking, not stereotyping, but they are the more interesting businesses. They are the startups. They are the ones that have kind of grander designs and more interesting kind of futures for me to work with.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the other thing is with LinkedIn is, like I just said, that there's like only 3 million that are doing any content. The rest of the people are lurkers, and they just sit there not doing anything. But you'd be surprised how many of them are watching you and finding out what you're doing and keen to hear what you're saying. So just keep putting out what you're doing, and they're coming to you. So you've got your accountancy practice, but it's a little bit different, isn't it? So tell us why it's different.
Well, I've kind of already hinted on the social media side of things, and the types of the sorts of content that I kind of produce, but I think it was maybe a perfect storm in terms of forming the business. I think going straight into lockdown and the pandemic, and I set up a Facebook group before the pandemic hit because I wanted to deliver my content to more people, and I found that the business page on Facebook wasn't reaching as many people as perhaps a group could. So I set that up, and I think that's got about 1,300 people in now, and that's doing really, really well. So I think in terms of the services that I can deliver, You know, I am very pro advisory. I find it really easy to do advisory work, but that's because I've got a background in advisory. I've done it for the last 7 or 8 years in industry. So I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy meeting people face to face. You know, thankfully now the restrictions have lapsed to a degree. And I like getting a sheet of numbers and just talking it through with somebody in kind of layman's terms. And, you know, I'll have the sheet of numbers, they can have the story, and it's my job to tell the story with the sheet of numbers. And if I can get some understanding in clients' heads that says, right, well, this number is this number is that. If I do something in the business operationally to change something, this is how it affects the numbers. And all of a sudden it clicks, and you can see it visibly. It just clicks. And not only do they have the reduction of stress that I can deal with all the compliance stuff, and, you know, it's in safe hands, but actually they can think about their business in a slightly different light than they've not had before. They've got that, you know, trusted advisor to give them that kind of impetus to say, look, if you do this, this is how it will potentially affect the numbers, and kind of just making those links.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. And so I've got some really good questions coming up, and I'll leave those to the end. So keep the questions coming, guys. There's some good questions there. How many hours a week do you currently work, and does that work for you?
I'm pretty much in my office from around about 9:30 till 5:30, 6 o'clock, Monday to Friday. I'll do the very, very slightest of work on a weekend if time allows it, but weekends and evenings are for family.
Absolutely.
I've been, you know, having commuted quite a long way in my day jobs and missing out on a fair bit of the kids growing up. You know, it's, you know, a small part of the reason was to address that work-life balance. So, you know, to go working 50, 60 hours a week and do weekends and all sorts now in my own business would just defeat that point completely. So that's kind of how I structure my working week, about 40, 50 hours a week during those times.
Cool. We've got over the 50 minutes. So
I told you.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So look, when you're not doing LinkedIn, we'll get to the questions, but when you're not doing LinkedIn, what else are you doing?
So a bit like you, Ashley, my main passion is music. You've got your VW camper. I've got, if you see that, there you go, my Stormtrooper, which I built a few months ago.
We had a little natter before this, and you've got so many models, and they're all too big. So that was the easiest one to pick out, wasn't it?
You can just see the Nintendo Entertainment System in my cabinet just behind me.
Oh yeah.
And then sort of up there is my Superstar Destroyer, which is absolutely massive. It goes right across the length of my office, pretty much.
I think you did a post of that, and it took up most of your table, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you're also a DJ, aren't you?
Yeah. So yeah, went back into that last month for the first time in 18 months, which is pretty cool. So music is my main passion. Predominantly heavy metal and hard rock, and I do some DJing in a nightclub, and I love to build Lego. Lego is people laugh about it, but it's such a mental release. You know, when I'm sat there for an hour or two doing it's a big puzzle, and it's just, if I'm feeling a bit stressed with something, just do a Lego set for a couple of hours. It's amazing. It just calms me right down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's finding those habits to take away all that stress. Right, we've got some questions now. One from John. What have you enjoyed most about your journey so far?
Meeting people like John, actually, and people like you, Ashley. It's I came from a position where I was a bit of an island in terms of my day jobs, and, you know, part of the reason why I got frustrated with corporate life was no one was listening to what I had to say, and I couldn't really rub shoulders with anyone because just no one got it. Whereas, you know, doing this business now for 18 months, you know, and through LinkedIn as a byproduct, I've managed to meet lots and lots and lots of people, albeit mainly virtually right now, but so many people that are supportive, helpful, not just within the accountancy industry, but in general. And, you know, people like John, I think I met John virtually around Christmas time, and we actually met up for the first time last month face to face and had a game of pool and a beer. So it's kind of experiences like that, because I knew I could do the compliance side of things. I knew I could talk to people. I knew that, you know, I could communicate financial information. So for me, it was about becoming a business owner for the first time, becoming self-employed, feeding my kids and my wife. So kind of all of those unknowns. And the first couple of months was really quite scary. And certainly, you know, as lockdown happened as well. But meeting so many incredible, interesting people throughout this journey so far. And, you know, like I said, it's only been 18 months. You know, there's many more people to meet. So for me, that's probably the most enjoyable thing. And obviously the clients, you know, very similar mindsets. You know, I enjoy working with all of them immensely. It's not a job for me. You know, I don't call them clients, I call them partners. I'm very much in partnership with the people that I work with. It's not a client service provider partnership at all. Yeah, I think, you know, going back to my ideal client, now I'm attracting these sorts of people. You know, for an initial meeting, I say, can I go down the pub with you for a beer? And if the answer is no, then perhaps they're not my ideal client. Whereas if the answer is yes, then there's definitely a relationship there to work with, and that gets me really excited.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. Why do you have to meet in a stuffy office with a suit on? Hey,
Exactly.
That's the thing. So we've got another question here from Sham. How do you think the accountant as a profession needs to develop to keep up with future trends? This is a great debate. I love this. Great question, Sham. Thank you.
But before this business, the journey, I'd never worked in accountancy practice before. So I had absolutely no preconceptions about what the do's and don'ts were. I thought that all accountants talk to clients fairly regularly. And I thought that the majority of accountants used cloud technology or some form of technology to help automate things. Very quickly, I found that actually that's not the case. There's a lot of accountants out there that haven't embraced cloud technology and, you know, automated working. And there's an awful lot of accountants out there that don't really speak to their clients. And part of the success that I've had over the last 18 months is, you know, I've tried to deliver my personality through LinkedIn and through Facebook, and people have said, oh, this guy likes to talk to people, and automatically I've got a one up on other accountants that don't. So I think, like, in my opinion, what the industry needs to do more in the future is just communication. Like, for me, you know, technology will come. And as we know that you know, the government are doing technology things right now, which will drastically change how we do things in a couple of years' time. But I think just talk to people, you know, let people know that you're there, and just support in whichever way you can. But you know, even if your clients don't need or don't want the support, they can tell you. But if you don't reach out to them and be proactive with them, they're just not going to know. And all I've ever really wanted to have done in this business, like I've said before, is to communicate an understanding of financial information. You can't do that without speaking to people. So yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway, really, for what the industry could do.
Yeah, absolutely. And why can't people talk to people? It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. I've got a comment to put up on the screen, but I want to thank you very much for coming. Next week we have got Antonia Brickell, and I'm going to be a little bit nervous next week because she's used to do the breakfast show and stuff like that for the BBC up in Cambridgeshire. So tough act next week. You've been absolutely wonderful. So where's this other comment coming up? Holly has written that. So what a lovely comment, Holly. Thank you very much indeed.
You can't see my guitar's around the corner. So I have got a guitar here as well, so you just can't see that.
They've got too much Lego and too many posters, mate. That's the thing, isn't it? But Holly, thank you. That means such a lot. And guys, thank you very much for coming on and putting your questions to us and listening to us rattle on. Finally, one quick question. What top tip would you give your 16-year-old self, Neil?
It would be okay in the end.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, what a great way to end a show. Neil, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for all your comments, and we'll be back next week with Antonia. All the very best. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.